Hello YouTube Pipers, it's Double O Pipe here, aka Rick. I'm back with my, Lord have mercy, can't remember anything anymore, Rat Trays Distillery 129, and I put in it this time some Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic. Thought I would give that a try. So here we go. And I got in the mail from Stevie Roberts a new tamper. So I know I pulled in a piece of tobacco. But anyway, christened my tamper there, and thank you, Stevie. That's right nice. I got that in the mail yesterday. I figured if I made another video, I would show it off today. He's selling these. If anybody's interested, just get in touch with him and he'll let you know all the specifics. And thank you again. I appreciate it. There you go. Got me a beverage. Got me a pipe. Got me a light. Got me a tamper. So I am set. I had the weirdest thing happen to me last night, or yesterday afternoon. I was trying to get in touch with the people at Pet Helpers, and I was looking down all the messages I had on my phone, and I couldn't find anything that reminded me or any of the names that I remembered from Pet Helpers, but I did find one that was on there. It was just DEB, Deb. I was thinking to myself, is that somebody that works there? And I said, well, it could be. Seems like I talked to somebody whose name was Deb. So I said, I'll give it a shot. And I typed in there, were you the person that helped me with Hunter? Well, about 3 hours later, I was doing something and looked over at the phone, and there was a message on the phone. And the message said, no, I'm not the one who helped you. So I typed back and said, well, who is this? She told me her name, and the name, it didn't quite register completely, but it looked familiar. And she gave a little note. She said, you gave me some CDs a few years back of music from the 40s and the 50s, and you were a pharmacist, she put, I think. And I thought, I said, still doesn't quite ring the bell. And the only person I could think was somebody that I'd helped move a large piece of furniture, and we had put it in my Miata. I mean, we were crowded in that little Miata with this humongous piece of furniture, whatever it was. I can't even remember what it was. And I asked her, did I help you move a humongous piece of furniture? and we moved it in my Miata. She said, yeah, that could have happened. And then I began to remember other things. And I asked if she had a daughter by the name. It's a very unusual name from from Ireland, I believe. But anyway, I asked her if she had a daughter by that name, and she said, yes, I do. And I said, well, now I remember you. So we messaged back and forth for about half an hour. And I was thinking to myself, this lady was a mighty attractive lady. This must have been about 15 years ago. I said, but we never did take our relationship very far because we only went out a couple of times because her life was kind of complicated. So I asked where she was, and she said she's living in Upper South Carolina, up near the border. I said, you're no longer in Charleston? She said, nope. I was thinking to myself, after saying yesterday, I need a girl in my life. Here she is. We could reconnect. And then she tells me she lives in the upper part of the state, so there's no way we can reconnect. Too far away. But she was mighty attractive. Mighty attractive. But like I say, she was having some difficulties at that time. And I'm not sure when she moved, but I wasn't able to help her with her difficulties. So we just kind of went our separate ways. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, oh, the answer to my prayer. There's the woman to put in my life. So goes double O luck. I'm not sure I'm crazy about this aromatic Sir Walter Raleigh. Has a slight hint of the aroma, it has a slight hint of cherry, but I don't taste any cherry in this. And I've had other smokes that sat on the tongue with a more pleasant feeling than this. But it's not a bad smoke. I came across another memory. Whenever I was in second grade, I was a pretty good kid. I mean, I never got in trouble. I never tried to get in trouble. I always knew if I got in trouble, not only would I get in trouble at school, but I would get in trouble at home. And I didn't want to get in trouble at home for sure. I always played the straight and narrow. Well, one day in the afternoon, Clyde was saying, hey, Neff, come here for a minute. I said, okay. Came over there and sat down, and he said, whenever you're in class, do you feel bored sometimes? I said, yeah. He said, how would you like to liven up the class? I said, how would I do that? I said, the teacher's the one who has the class. He said, well, I've got this magic thing right here. And he held up a bobby pin. I don't know if everybody knows what a bobby pin is anymore, but there used to be wire. There was a straight edge. It crooked around, and then there was a wiggly edge, and it came out to a point that came out. And there was some kind of tip on the end of it. It wasn't rubber. It was, I don't know, like shellac or something. But anyway, women use it to put the hair up. And he had one, and he was showing it to me. And I said, what about it? He said, you can drive the teacher crazy and be in control of the class with this thing. I said, with the bobby pin? He said, yes, sir, a bobby pin. I've done it many times. And don't get caught. He said, where's your desk? I said, it's sort of in the back by the wall. He said, perfect. I said, what you mean perfect? He said, what you do with this bobby pin is you straighten it out so that it's not bent anymore, but it's almost a straight line. And he turned around and he said, this smooth part right here, not the wiggly part, but the smooth part, you stick that in between the seat and the frame of your desk. He said, do you know where that is? I said, yes, down to the side here, right? He said, yeah. Stick it in there so it's wedged real good and tight. I said, okay. He said, and then all you have to do is have your hand kind of down there and just look around nonchalantly and put your thumb on the end and pop it down. You'll see what I mean whenever you do it. I said, I'm not going to do that. He said, you'll be in control of the class. Teacher won't know where it's coming from. I said, I don't think I'm going to do that, Clyde. He said, Neff, sometimes you just got to have some fun. He threw the bobby pin on the coffee table in front of him. Well, I picked it up and looked at it and put it in my pocket. I said, you don't want to throw stuff away. Next day in class, teacher was up at the board writing something on the board. Don't remember what it was. I mean, it was second grade. Couldn't have been much. When I was sitting there, I was going, gosh, I am bored, like Clyde said. I dropped my pencil. I reached over to get it, and something stabbed me in my leg here. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out the bobby pin that was already straightened. And a little devil got into me. And I think I might have had that Clyde twinkle in my eye. I said, well, what could it hurt? Let's try it. So I put it down there, wedged it in real tight. And I said, now we'll find out what it sounds like. And I put my thumb on it, put it way down, and let it go. And spoing! And I looked up. Everybody else kind of looked around. What was that sound? Teacher looked behind her and said, anybody know what that noise was? Everybody just shook their heads. No, they didn't know what it was. And I kind of put my head down and smiled to myself. I said, it's me. Well, she went back to writing on the board, and I put my thumb down there again and went, sproing, sproing. And she turned around and she said, all right, somebody's deliberately making a noise now. Who is it and what are you doing? Everybody did the same thing. I went along with them. I was just looking around, like in the Christmas Story movie. Everybody was looking around to see who was doing what. Well, I was joining in. So she was getting a little heated up there, but she turned back around to finish up what she was writing on the board, and I went, sproing, sproing, sproing. And she turned around. She put her chalk down. She went to the front of the class. She said, all right. One of you pupils here is disturbing my class, and I want you to tell me right now who it is. Well, nobody knew, because it was me, and I wasn't letting on. And once again, we all looked around the class and said, who could it be? Who's doing that? And she looked at all of us. She just looked over me because I was a good student. She knew I would never do anything like that. I got this little devilish grin. I know I had that twinkle in my eye that Clyde always gets. She turned around, picked up the piece of chalk, went back to the board, and I went, sproing, 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 sproing. So she was really mad now. She had papers in her hand. She slapped them on the desk. She put the chalk down. She said, all right, I want to know who's doing that. This is a disruption of my class, and I will not have it. Now, if you don't speak up, I'm going to really give you some problems. So everybody was looking around like, who was it? And a couple of the kids next to me figured it out. It was me. So they started looking at me giggling. And I just kind of looked down because I didn't want to draw attention to myself. And I was looking down, getting ready to do it again, when all of a sudden, a heavy shadow kind of fell over me. And I kind of looked up like this, and she was standing right there looking at me. And I gulped. And she said, all right, Ricky Croucher, what are you doing? I said, nothing. She said, all right, hand me that thing that you've got there in the side of your desk. So I pulled it out and lifted it up to her. And she took it out of my hand, grabbed my ear between her finger and thumb, pulled me out of my chair, and walked me straight to the principal's office. It was the first time I ever got in trouble. I guess because it was the first time I ever got in trouble, I didn't really get more than a lecture from the principal. I mean, I didn't get the paddle with the holes in it. Not that time. And of course, the teacher sent home a note. My parents got a hold of that note, and they really were upset with me. I didn't get a paddle in, but I sure got a lecture. And the next day when I was at Clyde's house in the afternoon, he looked at me and said, what's wrong, Neff? So I told him what I had done. And he just laughed and laughed. I said, it ain't funny. He said, Neff, it's too funny. Oh, brother. Yeah, that was the first time I ever got in trouble in school. Not the trouble other kids got into, but it was enough for me. That teacher was upset with me. Like I said, I was one of her quiet students who was always attentive and always trying to do his best. And there I was, disrupting her class. She was not happy with me for a while. Kind of didn't trust me much either after that. Well, folks, wasn't much of a story, but it was a great memory. And I finally got to feel that smile and twinkle in my eye like Clyde always got. I knew what it felt like. It felt like the devil got into you. That's what it felt like. I'd like to say that's the only time I got in trouble. Not quite as much as that, but I did have my days. Clyde got a kick out of it, that's for sure. Well, folks, that's enough for me. We haven't gotten the rain like we were supposed to. It was supposed to be raining yesterday really hard, and today it was supposed to follow up with showers and thunder showers, but so far we've been very fortunate. Good Lord's looking out for us is all I can say. Like he normally does. For me, that's it. My beverage is only half gone. My pipe is only half smoked. But I got nothing else to say. So I'm going to look at this little red dot so I know where my finger is, and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, Thanks for listening. Thanks for stopping by, and God bless you until next time.